It's my pleasure to introduce you to Brett Morgan, a man who's hoping to hush his critics and defy all odds, a man who eats, sleeps, and breathes football, a Los Angeles native who plays for Lakewood High School. Now, he's not your typical halfback, standing at 6'2", 315 pounds. No one really believed he could run the rock, not even his own coach, but in his senior year, he got the starting job and pretty much ran over everybody in his path. This man literally refuses to go down. Not one tackler can take this man down solely. It takes an army to bring Brett Morgan down to the turf. And as that effort continued to grow throughout his senior year, he rushed for over 2,500 yards and 30 touchdowns, one game having over 300 yards on the ground and 5 solo TDs. Brett Morgan went on to prove that he belongs in the next level, winning the state championship with Lakewood 27-0 against Fontana. But when Brett Morgan went and looked at his scholarship offers, there was none. No college wanted Brett Morgan. He was too big, not your prototypical halfback. But yet Troy was willing to take a chance with Brett Morgan as a walk-on, and he was going to get the start. In Brett Morgan's freshman year at Troy, he went on to run for a decent amount of yards, but him and the coach never really lined up eye to eye. The coach loved the air raid offense. That was his offense. So Brett didn't get many carries, but when he did touch the rock, he capitalized, setting an NCAA record for the longest run in a game, 83 yards. The big boy truly does have wheels, and NFL scouts he was hoping were watching. Brett Morgan would continue to have amazing, spectacular plays throughout the rest of his freshman career here at Troy. He went on running over defender after defender, leaving opposing coaches mind-boggled. But yet Troy went 4-8. Their season really wasn't that magical. Brett was extremely upset, only getting the rock 8 to 9 times per game, averaging 6 yards per carry with almost 600 yards and 5 touchdowns on the season, but yet he just never got the rock. But going into his sophomore year, he improved a little bit and even lost a little bit of weight. Brett Morgan no longer is 316 pounds. He slimmed down to 305 pounds and was ready to take on the Sun Belt in style. A new sleek frame, he was hoping to really burst through some holes with some serious speed. Against TCU, one of the teams that they were definitely not destined to beat, he had a great game on the ground, running over player after player, and just showed that his new lighter frame gave him all sorts of new agility. He was really excited for the start of this season. His sophomore year thought would truly be one of the best seasons of his career between high school and college. But to his surprise, he still only got the ball 8 to 9 times per game. The coach just wasn't in his corner. Getting 637 yards and 6 TDs on the season, Troy went 4-8 again, not finishing anywhere near the top of the Sun Belt. After his sophomore season, Brett went back home to Los Angeles before his junior season would kick off. And when he went back home, he found out his father had fallen severely ill. His mother didn't know how long his father truly had, so Brett thought about maybe skipping his junior year at Troy and staying back home in Los Angeles, but his father wouldn't have it. His father knew where Brett's heart was and wanted him to go back to play football. To kick off his junior year, Brett was a little bit heavier. He gained a little bit of muscle over the summer and improved in his football skill quite a bit. They had a nationally televised game against 21-ranked Wisconsin. Brett was totally looking forward to this as his father could watch on TV back in Los Angeles, so he put on a clinic, a complete show on the ground and through the air, showing he could catch the ball as well as running it, and literally destroying any defender in his sights. Brett went on to do a staggering performance in front of a large away crowd at Wisconsin and in front of national television, his father and his mother watching back at home. Brett went on to be named Player of the Game, putting on a show as Troy upset Wisconsin. But yet, it was as if Brett Morgan's coach had something against him, only giving him the rock 8 to 9 times per game. Brett Morgan had 829 yards, 5 TDs, and averaged almost 8 yards per carry. Troy went 7-5 on the season and came nowhere close to winning the conference championship. But Brett Morgan's concern went from football to family instantly as soon as he got a call from his mother, finding out that his father was in the hospital with only days left on his life. Brett boarded a plane, left Alabama, and landed in Los Angeles, getting in his car, getting an update call from his mother, finding out she didn't know how long the father had. It could be minutes. If Brett wanted to say goodbye, he had to get there quickly. He broke all sorts of traffic laws, flying through intersections at high speeds, and then, all of a sudden, A huge concussion and a few broken ribs later, Brett Morgan was back on the streets of Los Angeles. His father had passed and he didn't know what he wanted to do with his future. He knew that he couldn't go back to Troy. They didn't want him back. After crashing into that wall and driving like that, they wanted nothing to do with Brett Morgan. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know if he should continue football or just get a job. He knows he finished 3 seasons at Troy. He was draft eligible and the draft was right around the corner. His mother told him his father truly would have loved for him to attend the draft. So it looks like that's the next chapter in Brett Morgan's life. At the Combine, Brett Morgan prepares to run the 40-yard dash. Now he is a big boy, standing at 3'15", 6'2", at halfback, but when he got the jump on this dash, it was pretty solid for his size, a 4.8140. Then on the bench press, he truly showed his size and strength here as he benched almost 12 reps in front of all of the NFL scouts, showing that he's a bit stronger than your average halfback. Brett also worked out for a few teams and he really proved what he could do. He could translate his game from high school to college and then college to the NFL, potentially, showing his strength and ability to smell that end zone out as he broke tackle after tackle and even flexed his speed just a bit. The big man has wheels, and that's all I have to say about that. Thick boy can run. Now it's time for the NFL draft. Let's see if any of these teams want to take a chance on Brett Morgan. And it looks like the New England Patriots decided to throw a flyer at Brett, taking him in the late 7th round. Here's how Brett Morgan stacks up in the professional bracket. 6'2", 320 pounds. He's only 20. His 21st birthday's right around the corner though. But look at his overall, 65 overall, decent break tackle, speed and acceleration's okay. His carrying and trucking's pretty good too, but he's going to need a lot of work if he wants to make this squad. And speaking of work in practice, Brett Morgan was putting in tons of reps, running over some of his fellow teammates, putting together a pretty good ground effort for a lot of 3, 4, 5-yard carries, and I feel like that's where the Patriots are going to need him to get those tough fought 4 yards. After practice, I have to say the team was pretty impressed, but the preseason still waits Brett Morgan. Now, Brett Morgan got to see reps in 2 of the 4 preseason games, and he looked just as good as he did in high school and in college playing for Troy. He hasn't lost a step, running over defenders at the line of scrimmage and defenders in the secondary. He truly makes anyone that's smaller than him pay. As you can see, it takes multiple guys still to take Morgan down. With his big frame and all of that muscle and power, he's a huge threat for the New England Patriots, especially in this preseason. He had over 20 carries in one game and over 15 in another. He really got the rock a lot, and I think the Patriots will utilize Morgan in different situations throughout the season. And I have news. Morgan made the cut. But he only has a 3-year, $3 million deal with the Patriots, so he's going to have to prove himself and improve quickly if he wants to stay in the NFL, especially playing for the Patriots. And now that he has to support his mother now that his father's gone, he's going to need all the money he can possibly make. With the regular season only days away, Brett Morgan decided to visit his mother in Los Angeles one last time before season play got started, knowing he wouldn't see her for some time. When he arrived in Los Angeles, he got a call from his agent, Barry, stating he could potentially start for the New England Patriots week 1 because a minor injury just happened to their starting running back. So Brett Morgan, being a little nervous and waiting for the true word if he was going to be named starter, decided to get a haircut, clean things up a bit. He even decided to trim his beard down. Goodbye to all those precious locks of hair. And he said he's got to kind of pimp out his wardrobe just a little bit, just in case he has to do any interviews with NBC or Fox. So he bought himself a new suit. Then he called Barry, his agent, back and found out, yes indeed, there was a minor injury to the starting running back, and Brett Morgan is going to be getting his first ever NFL start in his first ever NFL game. He couldn't be more excited, so he started rushing straight to the airport, boarded a private jet, and is headed back to Massachusetts as we speak. Now I know the career of Brett Morgan hasn't even begun just yet, but I have a feeling that Brett Morgan is going to make a lasting impression in the NFL. He did so in high school, he did so in college, against all odds. He lost his father and hopes to make him proud. Good luck, Brett.